Hello, ladies and llamas, gentlemen, and yeah. This is the Werewolf, and this is Werewolf the podcast. The world has become our crusty bivalve of choice. Our little podcast has become very popular. I've really no idea what that says about our collective mentality, but I think some of you really need to take a good, hard look at yourselves and, well, enjoy what you see because you're gorgeous. Please go down to the description it's the podcast description-y thing or the YouTube description-y thing. It's got a description in it and it's got loads of links and stuff. We've got a Facebook group which is growing very quickly. There you can actually get involved in some of Wil and Fen's adventures and Thorstein's and stuff. So yeah, go there. And we've got Twitter and Instagram, and my new book's going to come out at the end of July. For those of you supporting the podcast, thank you very much. It's very nice to get your coffees when I get them. Well done, thank you, you're great. We're taking a vacation from the Viking era on this one, just to take a little return to the modern world with Wil and Fen for an episode. I'm kind of missing them. We'll be back with the Vikings next week. A blonde-haired child stood before me. It was fucking weird, to be honest. She looked like a cross between Children of the Corn and the cartoon Alice in Wonderland. You know what I mean. I know you do. She was a proper spooky childer. Long blonde hair, blue eyes, fucking little blue sandals, white lacy knee-high socks. Seen it yet? No? Oh, okay. Blue pinafore dress? Fuck, I just said pinafore dress as though that is a word I often use in my vocabulary. Well, I cannot be asked going into further detail. Let's say the sight before me was a pedo's wet dream or Hitler's perfect human. Malcolm would have been... Oh, God. Let's not think about that. Yeesh. Why did I even think of that? That was the equivalent of mentally drinking orange juice after brushing your teeth. Yuck. The service station we're in is full of wandering and slightly discombobulated travellers of this nation's motorways. In Great Britain, we think an hour's journey in a car is somewhere or somewhat too long, and we think it's a long journey. In fact, with most journeys over an hour, you'll fall in the water anyway, so an hour's journey is a long time. I know for you Americans and, people in other big countries, a 5 to 8 hour car ride is just going out for milk and fags. Oh wait, that means something different in America, doesn't it? Out for milk and smokes. No, maybe it is out for milk and fags if that's your thing. I'm not judgy because you might like to suck both. Fags and smokes, that is. I suppose you could suck milk if you want. What the fuck am I going on about? Anyway, yeah. Car travel in the UK. Sorry, I do get sidetracked a bit too often. For the people in the small island, anything longer than an hour is a lifetime in the car. And these service stations probably have one of the greatest mixes of people in the nation at any time. A true melting pot of races, genders, and everything else, really. The line to McDonald's would hit the diversity quotient for any half-baked Disney film going. Having said this, the place is super busy. It's a bit weird as the people around us give her, the little girl, a wide berth, leaving her well alone. That was strange as well. She was so fucking cute looking. Shite. I just referred to a kid as cute. Ugh. Maybe they could sense what I could, that she was a tiny little deviant nasty fuck. They would not see what I saw, but their prey brains sensed it. This thing before me was not just a little girl. This was a whole lot more. Those blue eyes were not blue waters in a sun-kissed valley. They were the harsh ice on the cliff's edge of an abyss. Hard as diamonds, empty of a soul. They were like the White Walker's eyes off Game of Thrones, except they look a bit more like they were burning with flames inside them. I suppose you get blue flames, don't you? Are those the really hot ones? Yeah, those are the... Well, these eyes look like they burned cold. Yeah, scary. I've gone on about the eyes for a bit too long now. The eyes were really fucking frightening, let's just say that. Oh, God. The look she gave me was thousands of years old. A chill ran down my spine and Fen was speechless next to me. That's always a bad sign when Fen's speechless. He usually never shuts up. Shit was happening here that we were not used to, or to be honest, that we could understand. What's that emotion that I'd heard of but infrequently felt? I was frightened. What the neurotypical non-werewolf people did not see, and what did not help me, was the fuck-off huge wolf posit standing behind her. It was a gnarly, grey-haired beast looking over the child's shoulder and regarding us with a knowing look. It was scarred and battered. Teeth were missing from its head. One ear was a tattered mess. It had seen the wrong end of some horrible things. Having said that, the monstrous thing looked smug and cunning. Some things look cunning. This thing did more than look cunning. It oozed that shit. It was a wolfonification of cunning. It made my anus itch, and not in the good way. All in all, no wonder the people here were giving these two a wide berth. And for me, it was a bit of a shock. These two were not what you expected when you came out of the shitter in a motorway service station near Chester after a problematic poo. Can you imagine the miasma of horror-filled stenches that a werewolf gets to sense in an overly abused public toilet? Well, don't. It was shit. It was shit. It was shit.
Are you in dietary distress, Wolfie man?
She asked. I looked around me for who she had addressed, and I realised it was me. She was staring at my left ear instead of my eyes, which worsened this situation. I was still gagging from the rancid bogs and was just gathering myself back together. I turned and looked at Fen. He looked at me and did the usual thing when he had no clue. He just kind of shrugged and shook his head. The wolf that had its head resting on the girl's shoulder lifted it and turned a smile on me that was proper evil, proper fucking evil. Nietzsche said that there was no such thing as evil. It was just your point of view that identified something as good as evil. He was wrong. This was evil from any point of view you could ever have. I could not focus on anything else at the time but its big, smug, furry, fucked up face. Fen tried a telepathic whisper. "Will, close your mouth. You look stupid," he told me. I turned my head to him and closed my mouth with a smile before returning to the nightmare image before us. I kept eye contact with the monster, but it nodded to a little bottle the girl had in her hand that had a label dangling from it. She turned the label towards me and, coming up to her tippy toes, held it up as if very proud of it. I focused on the writing, and in big crayon letters it said, "Don't drink me." I read the label a few times and still didn't really get it. Fen caught up quicker than I did. "I think the little bottle had something bad in it, and that was in that bottle may be in you now, matey. I guess that may not be a good thing. That's maybe why the world just fell out of your arse and you just had an arsequake. You've never been ill, really, and think of some of the shite you've eaten over the years." I thought. The little girl butted in excitedly.
Yes, he's got it, you've got it, you's been poison onioned.
And she giggled as she jumped up and down on the spot. It was hypnotising to watch. The big grey wolf stepped in like some father figure at this point. "It's poisoned, Alice, not poison-onioned," it told the child. Then the creature turned towards Fen with a smile of camaraderie. "She's just getting to grip with her big words now. We have only been together for a couple of 100 years or so. It takes humans a while to get to grips with their own language. Sad, really," it told him, shrugging in what seemed like an apology. Then it continued to address us both. "Yes, we had a lovely barista add this to your flat white at the last Costa's you stopped at. It is a mixture of vitamins and minerals and lots of horrible poisonous shit that will slowly kill you unless you get the
antidote,"
the little girl shouted. "Yes, Alice, the antidote. Well done." You could see the genuine affection that he felt for the child. He was so proud. "She is doing so well," it told us proudly. "She got the man to poison you all by herself, didn't you, Alice? Such a clever big girl," it continued with a tear in its eye. What the fuck is going on? WTF, as you kids say. We stood across from each other for a while in an uncomfortable silent tableau. I expected some more information than this. Maybe a reason for them poisoning me? There must have been a reason for it. Okay, Do you want me to ask why you poisoned me? I asked. No, not at all. I just want you to ask how you get the
Antidote!
shouted the girl again. Yes, Alice, you are so clever. Right then, how do I get the antidote then, please? I asked. I'm shitting through the eye of a needle, and I don't like it. The giant wolf soul shushed me. Tisk, tisk, tisk. Don't listen to Mr. Pottymouth here, he said, looking at me in a very disapproving way for a wolf. Well, I'm glad you asked. You have some knowledge that we as the tribe require. You do know you should have killed her, don't you? It said. We were both confused by this. I had no idea that I should have killed anyone. Did he mean the little girl? Kill who? Asked Fenrir. Sally, of course, said the great old posit. The name was given as though it should answer the question as to what the fuck was going on. Should I? I asked. Why? The wolf looked quite surprised. Oh, okay. I have to explain all this then. My name is Gavin. I know, Gavin. A long story, but I may get there if we have time, he said. This is Alice, he said, pointing to the girl who waved. We nickname her Alice Malice, don't we, darling? Alice Malice, he continued proudly. Well, my first binding as a wolf soul was to the original human shaman of the human tribe, so you can imagine that I learnt a lot about magic, spirituality, and all that supernatural stuff. So basically, the chief asked me to come over and get the secret to killing werewolf souls from you and Fen. I think he realised that you would just murder and kill anyone that did a frontal assault, as it were. So he asked me, as I am a sneaky wolf. He stopped briefly to pat the Alice on the Alice band in a sort of apology. Nearly said a bad word there. I'm here to get the information from you. Oh, shoot, Sally, I forgot her. How could you forget Sally? I mean, she's so radiant and pretty. A bit common, but hey, a few 100 years and she will improve herself. Sally got herself back to Surgut to see the gang and to tell all what happened. She is significantly upset with you two, it said, pointing at us.
I need a wee,
exclaimed Alice. In a minute. Just wait a minute, dear. I bet you a strawberry lolly that you cannot be quiet for the next 2 minutes, darling. Gavin told the child before returning back to the conversation with us. Where was I? Oh, yes, Sally. She knows you have her canines, which is a constant worry to her. It stopped and gave us a look of admonishment. Although she does have a lovely set of gold fangs now. I mean, if that's your thing, that is. They look a bit urban chic for my own taste, but maybe she wants to look a bit gangster, as the youth say, I believe. She also asked me if I could get those teeth back for her, just for peace of mind in her case. You can imagine it's difficult for her to think about anything else except that you could kill her at any time. That must be so stressful. Really, must it not? I'm glad that I'm not in her place. Oh, and if you're thinking of grabbing Alice and holding her as some kind of hostage, or even think about popping her teeth out of her little tiny head, you will definitely die from the shit that runs through your veins. You have no way of treating it. It is a poison specifically designed to kill the human in a werewolf couple. Even if you and Fenrir combine, you still will die. It is also werewolf specific. It wouldn't even kill a normal human, so you can't go for medical aid. I mean, what are you going to say to the doctor? I'm a werewolf and I've been poisoned. I don't think that would work, do you? The doctor may put you in a padded cell. Shit! Sorry, Alice. I keep forgetting the whole story. Sorry, what am I doing all this talking for? I know it must be a bit of a dull monologue and you will have many questions, but I promise we are nearly at the end of it. Well, that is, if I do not get distracted and head off on any other tangents. Sorry, my point is that as long as the poison... Poison! Shouted little Alice, much to the surprise of the people passing by. Yes, sweetie, you said it right. As long as the nasty stuff is in your bloodstream, you cannot change into a werewolf. So if you touch her, I will rip you to fucking shreds in a heartbeat, because I can be a werewolf at will. At will. At you will, literally, he said, pointing towards me as though he'd worked in a clever play of words. Phew, that was a lot. He finally stopped and did a big wolfy smile. "Sir, if you give me the teeth, I'm sure you have them on you because someone like you would do that sort of thing. And the details of the spell, we will give you the other little bottle we have, and we can get on our way." As you can imagine, this was a lot to take in one sitting, so it took Fen and me a few moments in order to get our heads around this. People now were a little interested in the tableau in front of them as this perplexed man looked strangely at this little girl. They recognised that something evil was going on. They felt that from the overriding vibe that stood over us, but in a strange twist, I was not the bad guy in the scenario, at least I didn't think so. "So," I said to the child and the wolf, "all I have to do is give you these teeth." I removed a little glass bottle from my pocket with 4 pristine canines in it. "Give you the spell, and you will give me the..." I remembered little shouty here. "You will give me the getting better stuff." "Yep," said Gavin and Alice at the same time. I stood for some time now, looking as though I was in considerable concentration about considering the consequences of concurring and cooperating. I knew for a fact that if we were in this situation, I would be telling a big fat lie. They would be going to die, whatever. "See, what I don't understand," said Fen, "is, sorry to swear near Alice, why the fuck should we believe that you are going to give us the antidote?"
Antidote!
Screamed the child. "I mean, the antidote," Fen paused for.
Antidote!
Was the scream again from the child. "Might not be the
Okay, stop.
butted in the Gavin. Fen was doing one of his fun things of being an annoying fuck to those that they think they have some power over us. I love it. At this outburst from Gavin, Alice started to snivel, as though she had been the reason for his harshness, so he spent a moment settling her back down before continuing with us. You don't, but what choice do you actually have?" said the Gavin. "Well, I do, actually," said Fen. I looked at him in shock. "What on earth do you mean? You can't mean that..." "Well, I'm not going to die, am I? And I could do with moving on, to be honest, and sorry, Will, you're right. I can kill this cunt. Oh, sorry, Alice, for saying cunt. Remember, cunt is not a nice word to say, so whatever you do, never use the word cunt, Alice." He paused before continuing. He could see that the other one had been shocked by each expletive. The wolf's soul, Gavin, was now shaking as though in pain on hearing them. "But it seems a worthwhile price to pay," he continued. Gavin did the confused wolf for a while, then smiled. "Oh, you're kidding, are you not?" he said with a hint of confusion in his voice. "Yeah," Fenrir laughed. "I don't want Will to die, really." I acted out an exasperated sigh. I'd been looking around during this conversation for something that would be useful in this situation, and there it was, a large red steel-bodied fire extinguisher. I walked over to where it was sited next to its green powder-containing brother. Alice was now sucking her thumb and swinging her legs in boredom and was looking at me. "I suppose we have no choice," sighed Fen resignedly. "We're over a barrel really, are we not?" Gavin at this point was smirking and smug. He loved the fact that he had us under his thumb, paw, claw, or whatever. "Yes, you kind of have to, what I say, take the chance, hoping I will give you the medicine," he said while checking on his ward, who had wandered over to me to see what I was looking at.
What are those?
The little child asked me. Fenrir kept talking to Gavin. "Well, the spell is quite complex. We've memorised the words. Will might need to write them down for you. Will? I was bored with their conversation at this point and was explaining the uses of the 2 different fire extinguishers to the little girl as we squatted by them. She was one of those why children. You tell them something and they repeat why until you start making shit up or you kill them. I won't go into the whole conversation, it would mentally destroy you. She used the word why as an evil demonic attack.
What are those?
Oh, those are fire extinguishers.
What are they for?
They're used to put out fires.
Why?
Because you don't want a fire in here.
Why?
Because it might hurt people.
Why?
Because it burns them or they might die from smoke inhalation.
Why?
Because you can't breathe smoke. Why? Because you need oxygen to live. Why? I can show you how a lack of oxygen can kill you by squeezing your neck. Why? She was fascinated that the water one could not be used on electricity and laughed when I told her she would get a right shock if we did use it on electrical fires. I stood lifting the red one to show her how to use it. Gavin was very distracted, and I could see he was a little nervous about the way that me and Alice were interacting, but he did continue with his monologue. Yes, I think that would be a very good idea. If Will writes down the whole procedure, I will pass you the medicine for that information. He smiled lasciviously. Okay, I'll just get Will, he told Gavin. Will? He mentally shouted at me. I looked at him as though just noticing him. Yeah? I questioned. No, Fen said. Gavin looked momentarily confused, but he was too late. I brought the heavy red steel extinguisher down on that pretty little fucking freaky head. Clang! Was its clear onomatopoeic peal as it struck the little pretty blonde head, which exploded beautifully, spattering me and the surrounding area with its contents as I shouted with glee at the little evil creature's demise. Screams and shouts went up from the public around us, but those didn't really interest me. The skull's contents now covered the floor, and although not so pretty for the neurotypical human, it was a beautiful miasma of gorgeous gobbets of goo on the ground for me. The child's body stood momentarily without a head before toppling at my feet. I took a moment as hell broke out around me. People were running about and shouting stuff as usual. None of them did fuck all. I started to wipe the bits of myself, with a hanky in disgust. Handkerchiefs are not really large enough or absorbent enough to do this job well. Gavin was frozen on the spot, staring at dead, Alice. At this point I realised it was time for me to fuck off, before the shock of what had just happened turned into grab him moment. So I found a handy fire escape and boosted out to the car, leaving Gavin and Fen to chat. They were invisible, so completely safe for fuck's sake. Gavin stood silently looking at the dead girl on the floor. Eventually he went to her and tried to touch her and help her, but she was fucking dead. He looked up through angry, tear-filled eyes and screamed at Fen, who was understandably laughing at him. Why are you laughing? You've just killed your human. He is going to die in agony from the poison. You will be alone, and when I find you, said the bereft wolf. See, I think that's where you're wrong. Will's probably not going to die, you fucking idiot. Willie's not that easy to kill, I'm afraid. Well, I fucking hope not. We decided to gamble. That's kind of how we get through life. We agreed that he would rather die than let you have control over us, so we can have our fingers crossed that you're bluffing. I don't think you can kill him that easily, or one of you would have done it a while ago. I think, to be honest, but I'm not sure. But hey, I'm not going to die either way, am I? So fuck it. And do you think I care about him enough to give you the secret of killing me? Killing me? I don't fucking think so. Let's see what happens. He has the shits, but we've been eating poorly recently, so that might have something to do with it. So, all in all, the Gavin, why don't you fuck off? Fen turned his back on the wolf and made his way out through the panicking crowd as the police arrived through the front doors. Thanks for listening, you wonderful people. Please share and post and do all those wonderful things. We're going back to Viking times next week. Oh, and of course, at this point, I have to say, I love you. Bye.